Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Lots and lots of people have discovered the utility as well as the pure joy of shooting with a suppressor, aka silencer, a device you stick on the end of your gun that makes it quieter. Not silent, but quieter. And one of the outfits that has come along has really figured out how to help people get their suppressors, because it's kind of a thing. You got to go through the National Firearms Act. You got to apply for registration with the federal government. There's paperwork and all, and it's kind of intimidating. But the folks at Silencer Central are making that really easy. We're joined right now by Brandon Maddox. He's the CEO of Silencer Central. And Brandon, you got some news for us.
Yes, sir. Thanks again for having us.
You bet. So what is the ATF up to?
So for the last 8 months, we've been part of the beta testing for e-forms. So it's exciting that the ATF has done studies in the past, and they touch the forms from when they leave Silencer Central till they come back approved for the customer to buy the suppressor. They touch it 41 times. So to be able to convert that to a 100% digital process is great. I mean, like I told my staff, rarely do you see the government purposely make something more efficient. So it's going to definitely make it more efficient. They're quoting that they'll staff it to a 90-day turnaround. So if at any point it gets over 90 days for them to process an approval, they'll hire more people.
That's phenomenal, because we've been at various times, I don't have to tell you, we've been looking at anywhere from 7, 8, 9 months up to, at certain points, we were looking at 12 months from when you send your paperwork in until you get the okay to buy your suppressor. So you're saying they're thinking or promising they can do this in 90 days?
Yeah, so they went live 5 a.m. Central Standard Time on the 23rd of December, and so they're currently processing applications digitally. So our process at Silencer Central hasn't really changed. It just puts more burden on us to data entry it and upload, the free gun trust, the photos, the fingerprints. We upload everything to the ATF and just hit submit, and then we get an email approval back to us.
So, okay. Let's talk about that in a second. Back up. If you have an application in the works now, as I do, I've got applications in through Silencer Central, waiting for ATF. Does the e-form thing help me at this point?
Yeah, good question. It's the same staff that will work the paper ones that will work digital. So potentially, because there'll be less coming in paper, they can devote more time to focusing on actually processing. So it could. In 2014 and 15, ATF had e-forms in place, and we saw like a load balance. Anything that went through digitally or paper, they went through about the same time, but that'll probably take a while before that happens. But, potentially it could speed it up just because they're getting less volume in. They say that most of the ATF time is spent, unfortunately, sending back 60% of the applications because they weren't filled out correctly. So they spend a lot of their time back and forth. Yeah, so digital will fix that. It won't let you hit submit unless it's done correctly.
Okay, so, all right, so you got ATF e-forms, but you have Silencer Central, and you guys have already made it easy to do the application and everything because you've streamlined the whole process. So where does Silencer Central fall in terms of the flow of everything from the person who decides, I want a suppressor? How's it going to work now?
Yeah, good question. So if someone's interested in getting a suppressor, and we do feel like even the ATF knows this is going to drive significant demand to have a quicker turnaround that's somewhat predictable. So, we've started stocking the shelves of more product, knowing that it was going to create additional demand. So for the last 6 months, we've been building inventory, but the process essentially is still the same. Like a customer who's interested in getting a suppressor would just, go on our website at silencercentral.com and purchase one, or call our team and ask them, hey, what's the best product or products for me based on what firearms I'm trying to cover. And then we capture all the information we need, generate the paperwork, send it to the customer digitally. They basically sign it, check it off, make sure it's filled out correctly. We'll send them the fingerprint cards with ink so they can do their own fingerprints from the luxury of their own couch. They send us back. We scan them in. They basically send us a picture that they take on their cell phone, a selfie. They upload it. We submit all that to the ATF. We pay the tax stamp for the customer on their behalf. and then it'll email us the approved tax stamp as a PDF via email, and then Silencer Central will mail the silencer to the customer's front door as long as they're in one of the 42 states where they're lawful, because we have Silencer Central has locations in all 42 states where suppressors are legal.
Okay, so from the standpoint of the customer interacting with Silencer Central, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that you're going to basically work on the digitizing side, and you're going to make sure, as you always have, I mean, if you're getting yours through Silencer Central, you weren't going to get it kicked back anyway because you guys make sure it's all right in the first place.
Yeah, it helps. We've been doing it since 2005, so there's a lot of learnings over 16 years. All those mistakes that were made, you don't make those anymore. You might find some new ones, but it's pretty rare these days, I would guess. Right, exactly. And, of course, the ATF makes mistakes occasionally as well, so there is sometimes some, fair amount of back and forth, but really our process internally at Silencer Central is everything routes digitally in our system, and then we just currently, before e-forms, we would print it out and submit it in hard copy. But now we would just basically upload everything that we've captured from the customer and send it to them. So from the customer's perspective, nothing's really changed.
So what's going on with suppressor prices? We've got supply chain talk. We've got increases in prices on everything around. Have suppressor prices gone up as well?
That's a good question. I mean, our products that we sell internally, the Banish line, we haven't gone up on any of those products. Our goal has always been to increase our volume to sort of offset any price increases. We also allow customers to pay while they wait, no matter what brand they buy. As a dealer, we can carry anything. Even if they don't see it on our website, they can just call us. And we let people pay while they wait. And that might become less of an issue if it's a 30, 60, or 90-day turnaround. But, in the current scenario, we let people pay while they wait. I think it typically encourages them to maybe get a higher-end product or maybe get more than one, just because they know it's probably going to be a lifetime purchase for them and also something they're going to hand down to potentially their kids or loved ones.
And I don't really know the details of suppressors that are made for the lower pressure of handgun rounds versus maybe higher pressures of rifle rounds. Can you kind of talk us through that?
Yeah, good question. So the straight wall cartridges have become very popular just because some states have legal mandates where that's all you can hunt deer with, even in certain zones. Like we border Minnesota, and half the state you can use rifle cartridges, and in the other half, the more populated side, you have to use the straight wall cartridges. So, and you see them used also in hunting, feral hogs in the South, but it's an area that has really, really grown as suppressors. And, what's interesting about some of them is because the hole is so much bigger, you can typically end up using that same suppressor for more than one type caliber. So, let the cat out of the bag a little bit. We're going to have Banish is going to have a 46 caliber coming out, and that would be able to handle like a 338, obviously a larger rifle round, but also the 4570. So it's going to be, a nice scenario where you could use it really in both. So you could kind of think of it as a multi-caliber for both rifle and handgun.
Okay, that's kind of cool. You just broke the news right here. You're going to have a 46, and that's going to be a rifle-compatible suppressor.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seems like a lot of our customers are hunters, with us starting out in the Midwest and the Dakotas, and a lot of long range shooting. And so, gosh, the first time we used it on a 338, we're like, wow, this is incredible. This is going to be a great, kind of a matchup here to be able to use on, a 30, a 338, 4570, 350 Legend, 450, 458. It just covers a lot of different calibers.
Because you do get, obviously, a reduction in noise, but you do also get a bit of reduction in recoil, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, it'll be the same as a brake. So if you get a 40 to 45% recoil reduction with your brake, you're going to see the same thing with a suppressor. Oh, wow. So that's something that we sometimes forget to mention. A lot of people think about it strictly for helping accuracy or the sound protection and advantage for hunting, but the recoil obviously is also a huge benefit as well.
And one of the things I always go back to is, if you're introducing somebody to shooting, you got a young shooter or somebody who's new to it, starting them off with a suppressed either pistol or rifle. I mean, a lot of young people, got a new rifle for Christmas this year. And a lot of them these days are coming from the factory threaded, or obviously you guys will thread the barrels for people as well, but putting a suppressor on there makes it quieter and reduces the recoil, and it stops the progression to developing a flinch before you get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my daughters have the Pink Ruger 1022 takedowns, and they love the little 1022 silencers. Just screw right on. They came threaded. It's a game changer. I think that it's almost you have to remind someone, hey, remember it's a firearm, because it's so quiet, especially with the rimfires.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, this is not a pellet gun. This is an actual firearm. We're shooting real bullets out here.
Exactly.
Got to be careful. So all right, I'm going to spin back here because I did not know you were going to release this information. Tell me about this 46. When's that going to be available?
We're going to launch it at Industry Day at SHOT Show, like formally launch it. So, it'll be a modular unit. It'll be titanium. So, a lot of the benefits is it's constructed completely different than anything else on the market. So it's going to work being quiet on a lot of calibers, not just one or two. So, no, it'll definitely, hopefully we can have you come by Industry Day there at SHOT Show and let you shoot a few rounds through it.
God, that sounds like fun. Also, now, so when are people going to be able, I mean, you know what's going to happen. They're on your website right now trying to find it so they can order it while we're talking.
Boy, I'd say call my sales guys and tell you to get put on the wait list, because they're probably gonna beat me up for kind of letting the cat out of the bag.
Yeah,
but,
you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, probably. I'm used to that though. So yeah, I would say just call our 800 number on the website and say, hey, put me on the waiting list for this one, because you're right, there are supply issues with some of the other products out there in that 46 range. So it's good to be able to get one that's going to be in stock and lightweight, comes apart to clean, and all titanium. And
you're helping people set up their trust, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just like I said, doing the silencer suppressor market since 2005, we've just seen a huge benefit for the gun trust, just allowing customers to add additional people on there so they could use it as well and kind of have joint ownership. And then also, so it defines who gets it when they pass away, so they don't have to worry about that.
Right.
The laws changed in like August of 2016, where they started doing background checks on everyone on the trust. So typically we would set up a trust with just the primary person, and then at no charge, once it's approved, we can add anyone else really with a stroke of pen. It doesn't have to go back through vetting or background checks or anything like that.
All right, here's a technical question, and you may not know. I may have to talk to one of your specialists, but if you have a trust and you have several members of your family, and some of them live in a state where they actually can't have a suppressor, can they be on the trust? I mean, obviously they can't have a suppressor in that state, but they could still be on the trust for purposes of bequeathment and such. Yeah, absolutely. So, it's pretty common to put people on a trust and then they would just use it in the state where they're lawful. So you're right. Like they can be on the trust. So I've run, people through the background check part with ATF, and even if they live in Illinois or, New York, New Jersey, they'll still run the background check the same way. Mm-hmm. But, obviously the dealer can't transfer it to someone unless they're in a state where it's lawful. So there'd have to be, in that scenario, at least another person on the trust in a state where it's lawful to sort of take possession of it. But yeah, it's no problem. I mean, years ago when they were, unlawful in Minnesota residents would set up trust in, say, like North Dakota, and as they would drive through, they would, pick them up out of the bank, where they would store them in like a safety deposit box, and then use them in North Dakota to hunt prairie dogs with, and then put them back in a safety deposit box as they headed home. Yeah, they would go visit their suppressors.
Yeah, exactly. Oddly enough, the banks don't consider them a firearm, so they would let them store them in their safety deposit boxes. So, of course, silencers are now legal in Minnesota, but in some of the states where they weren't, and guys were really particular about wanting to use them for varmint hunting, they would store them in a state where they were lawful and be on the same trust with someone who could legally own it.
That's pretty cool. Tell you what. And you guys, for those who don't know, if you go take a look at the Silencer Central website, you'll see all the suppressors you guys have. You got really high-end, state-of-the-art suppressors for, the 223, the 30 calibers. It's quite a good line, and they are actually, I find them to be very affordable.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we do the easy pay where people can pay while they wait. There's no interest or anything like that. So then you don't feel like you're paying for something up front, waiting for it to get approved. You can just, it's almost like a layaway program.
And if you don't know what you're looking for, the guys there will help you out. When I talk to your people on the phone, they are just, They're delightful, honestly. They're fun to talk with. They know their stuff. You know, we have kind of a conversation. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking, God, somebody's going to say, you should be, move on to the next person. Go, no, we're just having a conversation about suppressors and learning stuff. So it's great to talk to your people.
Oh, yeah, no, they have fun. I mean, I was kidding with our sales director that they are all big hunters. So that's usually our biggest time of the year when it's cold out. And, of course, all of them want to go out and hunt. So I'm like, we might have to hire some more people just to fill in the slots while all these guys are out hunting.
Exactly. I understand. Hey, Brandon, thank you so much for spending some time educating us. It's just always helpful when you come in here and kind of fill us in.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me anytime. We'd love to be a part of your program.
Good deal. Well, I'll tell you what, I will see you at SHOT Show in Vegas in about 3 weeks, something like that now.
Yeah, not long.
Good deal. All right. Thanks so much, sir.